Hey, it's Mamu Mania in San Antonio. What did we learn from the Fox-Wemby combo? And also, let's look at tonight's game, Spurs versus Sixers.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Friday. Welcome back, everybody, to Locked On Spurs, right on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back, and TGIF. Hope you're having a great day. The weekend is here. We'll finish it strong on Locked On Spurs, your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. What are we talking about today? We can see on your screen there, We got a lot to talk about. We're talking about Mamu Mania. Yeah, Mamu, what a night did he have. And apparently he's friends with Flavor Flav. Who knew? We're going to be discussing that. What do we learn? Should the Spurs keep him around moving forward? Also, Fox-Wemby. Those two guys, they're shell for the rest of the season. But we got a kind of a tiny sample size. What did we learn from those two guys playing together? And, of course, looking at tonight's game, Spurs-Sixers. Yeah, we got a lot to do right here on Locked On Spurs. By the way, subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app. Locked On Spurs newsletter is in the description below. Click on that link. It's a free newsletter. Sign up today. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Yeah, you want to go check out FanDuel right now because right now new customers can get themselves $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So make sure you do that right now. Mamu, MVP. Apparently he was the MVP for a night. Mamu had a great night. 34 points, shattered a record, I believe, like the most points scored, or at least that many points scored in a small amount of time. So, yeah, he had himself a night. So, let's get some reaction from my colleague at Ken's 5 San Antonio. There he is. He's Vinnie Vinzetta. The Vin Dog is back. Vinny, I got a little confused, though, because when I heard MVP chants, I thought you were in the house.
Well, I was, but
I thought.
I quickly realized it wasn't for me. It was for Mamu. Very well deserved. But what a night for that guy.
Like, man, wow.
13, 14 from the floor, 7 from 3. Flav in the house, but apparently one of his boys. But, as I was visiting with Casey Vieira, nice kid, works hard. You feel really good, a lot of positive vibes for him. And if you think about it, I mean, not every shot's going to go in, but really every time Mitch Johnson has called his number, he's honestly produced anytime he's gone out there on the floor.
Yeah. And that's been a lot of the drum beating from Spurs fans saying, like, hey, play Mamu more, especially now at this point of the season. Vinny, what do they got to lose? You got everything to gain. Everybody talks about Castle's development and other player development, like Wesley, he's getting some burn, but there's Mamu too, who takes advantage of those minutes. By the way, everybody, make sure to follow Vinny on X at Vinzetta. Again, he is on Ken's 5 TV, from sports to food, everything else in between. Vinny has Ken's 5 TV covered. Yeah, so, Mamu, what a night for him. A historic night. She made a record. It was like that many points scored in like a small amount of time. It was just great to see him. Just the energy and the passion. I hadn't seen that type of passion on the court for a while. He was pumping his fist, screaming his head off, doing his showboating. It was a special night. And frankly, Vinny, I'm glad it happened because Spurs fans needed some sort of cheering up because it's been a bad season. So luckily Mamu was there to give fans at the Frost some happiness, at least for 48 minutes.
No, man, he injected enthusiasm into everybody, from himself to the fans and his teammates. His teammates realized and understood how special the night was, and they were just mobbing the guy at the end of the game for his post-game review. And again, a really special night. And at 6'9", he can obviously do some finishing around the rim, but I just think his 3-point release and shot is just so silky smooth. It's nice to watch. I mean, it's pretty legit the way he can shoot threes. So really happy again for that guy. And the chance of MVP. Anybody outside of San Antonio, laugh all you want, but as you said, Spurs fans needed something and they went for it last night, or in that game for sure.
Yeah, maybe they don't need Wemby anymore now. Yeah. Right. After the game, it was celebrations. You mentioned Mamu getting mobbed by his teammates. Flavor Flav, yep, he was in the house. Coming to find out they're best friends. They struck a friendship out in New York, and they kind of stuck around for at least together. And it was not just a special night for him. what added more to it was that his father was there. His brother was there. Obviously, one of his friends, Flavor Flav, was there. So, and he's going up against the team, the Knicks, that he just played college ball down the street from us at Senior Hall. So everything was just coming together. Afterwards, Mamu kept on saying that it feels like a dream. Am I awake? What's going on here? He kept on going over. He goes, I scored 34 points in the NBA. He was in disbelief, though, that he missed one shot. He couldn't accept it, but eventually he said, okay, fine, whatever. But I like the kid, and you mentioned the scoring there and the 3-point release, all that good stuff. It hasn't been uncommon for Mamu to light up the court. I believe in the G League, he once scored 50 points when he was with the system for the Bucks. So he definitely can light it up. Big question, though, and I get it. Let's try not to be prisoners of the moment here. But is he a guy you would like to see the Spurs keep around in the rebuild?
I do. Yeah. I'll answer that simple and right on the spot. Yeah, I would. He's an enthusiasm guy. He's a team guy, and he's going to be a guy that's ready. I think no matter how far down the bench he is, he's just going to be ready. And I don't know. When I look at Mamu, he's a Spurs way guy, as they like to say. So I'm all in on him hanging around and being part of the future. I know they have a lot of stock that they can find people, but I hope he's a guy that they give a shot to hang around, just a team guy. And, to score 34 points in 19 minutes, which I think was the first time that had been done since like 1951, 52, or maybe ever, or maybe since they began tracking that type number. That's like, I know he was 7-7 from 3, but the math is like he had a bucket like every minute of the time he was on the court. So it's just awesome to see him do that. And how dare he miss one shot?
I know, right? Let's screw it yesterday.
14.
Bench him, Mitch. Bench him. Bury him further down the bench there, Mitch. I mentioned earlier the Spurs got nothing to play for at this point. I mean, I get it. Everybody mathematically, the Spurs are in it for the play-in still, but we know like this probably won't happen. But playoffs probably not likely. It's not going to happen. So might as well just play Mamu out there. Let him get some burn, whether he's with the roster moving on after this season or beyond. Just for him. So if another team sees him and the Spurs decide to part ways with him, at least he'll be set off pretty well. That's the only thing I'm worried about, though, as far as his future in San Antonio, is because we all know they need somebody to back up Wemby. And Mamu could be a casualty of that if they do find a legit big to back him up. Your thoughts?
I think that's a very fair point. It could definitely be a victim of that. And as I mentioned earlier, they have cash on demand, and they have draft picks, so he may fall a victim on the wayside just because they have other options to bring other people in here over the summer and in the free agency period. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, no doubt. Absolutely.
He is Vinnie Vinzetta with Ken's 5 TV. If you need some information about food, he has you covered there. Some sports, he has you covered there. All those in between. Make sure to follow him on X at VVinzetta. All right, there's your Mamu minute right there, or I should say Mamu minutes, because he definitely deserved them. When we get back, we're going to look at the Wemby Fox combo. We didn't get a lot as far as PT playing time together, but we did get a very tiny sample size. We're going to look at some of the numbers. Also going to look for the eye test. What did we see from those two guys moving forward? And then look at tonight's game, Spurs-Sixers right here on Locked On Spurs with Vinnie Vinzetta, the big dog. Or no, the Vin dog, I should say. Yeah, the Vin dog.
Let's get that right. Let's go there, Jeff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, his bark is even equally as worse than his bite. See, so I don't want to get Vinny mad here. All right, before we continue our chat here, I want to talk to you about Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Find the right talent. If you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivers incredible results.
Fast and easy hiring. Post a job is free and simple. And within a day, you get multiple qualified candidates to choose from. You get cost-effective growth instead of hiring full-time. Upwork helps find affordable, top-tier freelancers to scale your business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now to post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com. Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. Pick my favorites. You got an eye on a few underdogs this year. FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. Easy and fast. FanDuel app is simple to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around. Staying in the action when the tournament games happening almost every day. There's always something exciting to bet on. So visit FanDuel.com right now and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked on Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
We're back right here on Locked on Spurs with Vinnie Vinzetta, the Vin Dog. Follow him on X at VVinzetta. Do that right now. He's with Ken's 5 TV. We're talking about your Spurs, the silver and black. Their season's continuing, but for a couple of guys, their season is over with, and that's De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama. Now, I highly recommend y'all look at yesterday's Locked on Spurs. With Dr. Ryan McCorkle. He came on to talk about what Fox likely is going through right now as far as rehab, what type of procedure it was. I guess what I learned too, Vinny, apparently there's a way to anesthetize somebody without knocking them out. I know it's not a local. Apparently there's this device, and I said in yesterday's show, it's pretty interesting, that they can clamp on limbs. Mm-hmm. And that's this clamp, not only does it like cut off the blood circulation, blah, 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 but it makes it numb. And then from there, they do this weird, it's like a local where apparently like there's numb, there's not feeling anything. And then there's feeling like you lost an arm. So apparently it's this new device. So again, it's very interesting. Go check it out. It's on yesterday's Locked on Spurs. But
medical advancements are amazing. Yeah. Like I've had a local a couple of times for procedures, but I've never heard of anything you just described. Wow.
Yeah. It's like some sort of device. And I said yesterday, the show, Dr. McCorkle was describing it, what they do. It sounds something out of like Star Wars or Star Trek. They sound crazy. But, with these two guys out for the season, they're in the rehab with Wemby thrombosis. He's preparing that. And obviously we know Fox in the finger surgery, I should say. We didn't get too much time to see them on the court, Vinny. But what did the eye test tell you? What did you learn in those 5-7 games that they played together?
I just think that there's possibilities. We still need to see more, but to me, De'Aaron Fox is a guy that just gets it and knows, and he's got outstanding court vision. Like he's a true pro, man. He knows how to play the game, and he understands what he has in the 7'3" Victor Wembanyama. So yeah, the sample size was very, very small, but I just think we saw a few possibilities of what it's going to be. Like, I don't know that there's, to me, it's not going to be like a Westbrook KD thing where as Sean Elliott would point out, that there was a power struggle and there would eventually have to be a divorce. That's not going to happen. I don't see it happening with Fox and Wembanyama. Like, I think those two guys will be able to coexist and get shots and pick and roll and work with each other. So even though we didn't see a lot, I'm confident, frankly, that it's going to work out just fine.
Yeah. Actually, it was 5 games they played together. So again, everybody, not a big sample size, but let's look at those 5 games together. So grand total, that was about 24 minutes of these two guys together. Now, in those 24 minutes / 5 games, they scored about 57 points together. They shot combined 47%. And from the 3 line, they shot about 33%. Again, this is just the 2-man combo here, according to the numbers via NBA.com. Rebounding, 20.2 between the two. Obviously, Victor probably had a lot to do with that.
Yep.
Assists, 16 between the two. And steals, 5.2. There's something there. Again, you want to ignore maybe the plus-minus right now because it's a small sample size. That combo 2-man is a minus 1.2. But if you can extrapolate this and push it forward to a hefty 30-plus minutes, you're going to have some devastation on both ends of the court, aren't you, Vinny?
Oh, there's no doubt. So you can't make any judgment. You can't make any judgments at all with 5 games to work with. But I still think if you think about basketball and you're smart about basketball and you're an NBA fan or you cover the NBA, you kind of realize that yes, this potentially, if everybody stays healthy and the complementary pieces do what they should do, that this can be really special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely can.
And I'll just add to that.
Oh, go ahead.
These are, as you look for those numbers, these are 2 guys that really game in and game out are the majority of the time going to get their own. They're going to do what they do. They're going to get numbers. And so that on itself is a win and shows you what the possibility is. And when you mix in pick and roll and assists and, finding each other,
right.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good thing.
Again, you brought up a good point about a power struggle. I don't see that at all. Because is it just me, or Wemby really likes to defer to his teammates a lot in what we've seen so far in his young NBA career?
Well, I think sometimes he defers too much, but that's being a team guy, and that's still being, the guy's 20, 21 years old, whatever it is. Yeah. But yes, there are kind of blatant moments that you see him defer, but I think he'll learn more and more that nobody's going to be able to eventually stop me. And so I shouldn't defer, but he's also, Victor's also a great passer. He can find people. He can dribble and penetrate and kick out, and so he's really good at that. He's just going to have to find that balance between when to drive and kick and when the shot is his. Yeah,
and also too, I don't think this gets highlighted enough because people see Fox as a scorer and, a guy, Mr. Clutch, Mr. Fourth Quarter, and the most points in the final period there. But defensively, he brings it too. There's a reason why he's called Swipe of the Fox, because he loves to get those steals. So you think that's an area of this combo that doesn't get highlighted enough, because we look at the 2 on the offensive end and we know thumbs up, but defensively, that should be good once they start getting some minutes together.
I agree. It should be highlighted. You have 2 guys that take pride in defense, and Victor, just by default, should almost, if he's healthy, win Defensive Player of the Year every year. And when you mix in the commitment that D Fox has to it, yeah, that's even more impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Eventually, once they start getting together and getting the minutes in, I think they're going to be a problem for the Spurs. And if we're just looking at those 2 guys, those are the pillars for the rebuild, right? There's no doubt about it. Right? Those are maybe we'll see what Castle can do, but so far, his pillar is getting erected pretty fast, as far as the foundation. But they have to build around. Is it really? Well, let me rephrase it like this, Vinny. Is it building around Fox and Wemby, or is it building around Fox, Wemby, and Castle right now?
Interesting question. Because Stephon Castle is quickly kind of, as you just alluded to, shooting himself into the stratosphere. It's regular season basketball where maybe not a ton is on the line, but it's easy to see, man, this kid is explosive and he's competitive. He can play angry. He plays smart. He's a little bit I don't know how you feel. He's a little bit of a street shooter from what I can tell from time to time. But yeah, all the tools are there, man. So he's definitely one of the foundation building blocks, and maybe that's a big statement to make so quick. But he looks like a guy you want to build some cement around quickly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as far as going back to Fox and Wemby, I look at these 2 guys. You got the length with Wemby. You both have speed on both ends with both players. You have the steal capability with both players and scoring, obviously, with these 2 players. There's really, I'm trying to think, what could be a better combo in the NBA? These 2 guys. I thought maybe LeBron and Anthony Davis, but, that pairing got busted up. I can't think of, would you say Joker and Murray in Denver? Can you think of a duo that might, or maybe it's SGA. Maybe that's what it is. It's SGA and Chet Holmgren. What do you think about that?
Maybe, because when you say something like Murray and Joker, that's interesting, because I feel like it's more Joker in Denver now than Murray's kind of he almost feels like a distant compliment piece to me now. But yeah, I guess you could compare it to SGA and Chet, even though Chet has battled some injuries and maybe we're just now starting to see him full tilt. But yes, I think clearly because they're both so still young that the opportunities are endless for what this pairing might do. And then when you mix in a Castle and a few others, man, look, it's not been a good year, and we don't know exactly how it's going to end yet. But the future is very bright, man.
Yeah,
There's just,
it is.
Nobody needs to sit around and wonder, is it going to? Yes, it's going to get good. Trust us.
Yeah, it is. A potential another 1-2 punch that could rival or at least give some competition to Wemby and Fox is maybe Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving in Dallas.
Yeah.
I can see that happening, but hey,
We didn't get a sample size on that yet either.
yeah, we didn't get some sign of that either. They both got injured, once that massive trade went down. But nevertheless, yeah, I mean, the Fox-Wemby pairing, everybody, is shaping up to be something good. We'll look at some of the numbers there. And sure, it's just a 5-game sample size, but you can already see the fruits, the beginning, the foundation of something special happening in San Antonio, starting with Fox and Wemby. We're not done talking. When we get back, we're going to get tonight's game, Spurs-Sixers. It's reunion night. Yeah, Lonnie Walker makes his return to San Antonio. He's wearing a Philly uniform. We're going to be discussing that and more with my colleague at Ken's 5 TV. He is Vinnie Vinzetta, the Vindog. Follow him on X at VVinzetta. But before we do all of that with Vinny, and I made sure to get the name right there, Vinny. I made you see the Vindog, right?
We're just that.
So take it easy. Take it easy. Let's talk about 5-hour energy.
Daylight savings snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that loss of an hour's sleep, 5-hour energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-hour energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Basketball madness is here. If you've been staying up late watching the tournament action, 5-hour energy helps you keep you going the next day. Look, you got the on-the-go convenience, so whether you're at the game, traveling, 5-hour energy is easy to grab, keeps you feeling refreshed all day. Hey, extra daylight, extra activities, right? No need to worry about that. With longer days, get outside for that hike, run. Okay, we got Tropical Burst. That's the go-to for a quick boost. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5-hour energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All systems have been alerted to your presence. You must subscribe to Locked On Spurs immediately.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Vinnie Vinzetta, my colleague at Ken's 5 TV. Make sure to follow him on X at VVinzetta. Man, so we just talked about 5-hour energy right now. Lonnie Walker, when he was a Spur, man, he was just energy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like a water bug, all over the court, kind of involved and everything. And I remember him. I don't remember the specific night of the opponent, but I remember him hitting a 3 for a win one night at the buzzer. I was the anchor on set that night, so was really happy for him. That was a great moment for him, and it was kind of sad, He put out those comments when he didn't return to the Spurs.
Right, yeah.
You kind of feel like you weren't wanted here, and I hated to hear him say that. But the business of pro sports, sometimes it is what it is. But he's a guy who will always love the silver and black, and who knows way down the road what happens. But he was a little bit of a fan fave early because of the hairdo, of course. So I think he'll be embraced on this Friday game night.
I believe so too. Yeah. So with the Sixers in town, well, first of all, before we get more into Lonnie, I was able to talk to Keldon Johnson about Lonnie's return. But interesting, the NBA announced that this game tonight will not be broadcast on NBA TV. You kind of know why. No Wemby, no Fox, no Embiid, no Paul George.
I dare you.
Why? Yeah, I can see why they got bumped off the schedule there. But I mean, these are two teams that have just been hit with injuries to key players. And it's kind of one of those things like what could have been like for the Spurs, what could have been if Fox and Wemby were still playing right now. Maybe they're in the play-in right now. Maybe they already secured that 10th spot, or that, that could happen for the Sixers as well. What could have been for them? Maybe they're also playing for a play-in spot, or maybe the lower end of the Eastern Conference playoff bracket. So yeah, these two teams just ravaged by injuries to key players. More about Lonnie too, because he makes his return to San Antonio. Kudos to him. He took some time out to play overseas in Lithuania to really hone his craft. And I had a chance to talk to Keldon Johnson about that. And Keldon told me that they still keep in contact, maybe not as frequently, but they still keep in contact, and that he was proud of him, that he took his talents overseas to work to get better. And now look at Lonnie back in the NBA, where Keldon said where he belongs, playing with Philadelphia. And the good thing about that situation for Lonnie, Vinny, is that he's getting some PT because their guard rotations are just ravaged.
Yeah, I mean, they have kind of waved the white flag on this season because with all the injuries. But, it sometimes feels like it's kind of you have to swallow your pride a little bit to go overseas and kind of hone your craft. So I give guys a lot of credit when they do that and come back and have honed their skills, as you mentioned. So really happy to see him back in the league. Great guy, really solid guy, and loves his craft, and I think he'll just be all smiles. I have a funny feeling he'll be all smiles in San Antonio, regardless of what kind of game he has, or if how bad the Sixers, I assume, will lose to the Spurs. But I think he'll be embraced by some of his boys in the silver and black. So that'll be cool for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just how bad is it in Philadelphia? It's this bad, Vinny. Right now, they are 21st in the NBA in offensive rating at 112.6. Defensively, their defense rating is 27th, the bottom of the barrel in the NBA at 118.3. So they don't light it up and they don't play defense. Spurs should get a W. Now, is there anything to be worried about, the other team, the Philadelphia on this side? Hey, maybe. They get to the free throw a lot. They're fifth in the NBA as getting to the free throw at 25.9. So there's that. But at 23 and 46, Vinny, 20, just bottom of the East there. Spurs should get a W tonight, right? Right, Vinny?
Right. The Thunder just blew them out by like 35 points. Yeah. Before they came to San Antonio. So yeah, they're not there. They're not too terribly dialed in or interested. I was checking my iPhone for the injury report. Literally, you can barely see all the injuries on the length of your iPhone. We had so many. So yeah, they're roughed up and just trying to limp to the finish line. People will say that the Spurs are trying to limp to the finish line. Well, the Sixers are even worse off. So I feel like it's going to be another nice night in the Frost Bank.
Me too. The Sixers are 1-4 in their last 5 games. So there you have it. Now for the Spurs, obviously, a big win over the Knicks, a team that I thought they were going to lose to. But nevertheless, they were able to pull it out, beat them in convincing fashion. We all know about the Mamu night, 34 points. So hopefully they can ride that momentum into tonight's game versus Philadelphia, because, the season is winding down, Vinny, but man, they got some big boys ahead. They got the Cavs. They still have Boston to deal with. They still have the Warriors on the slate. So any type of, easy win or winnable game, they need to take advantage of it, don't they, Vinny?
Oh, I've told people for several months they had a lot of softies in the first half, first third of the schedule. They don't have that really after this Sixers game. Yeah, they got a lot of playoff teams. Boston's in there, Cleveland's in there, Golden State. I think they're Clippers. So yeah, they got some tough games coming, and we're not sure. You wouldn't think they're going to win a whole lot of these down the stretch. So yeah, tonight's one of those maybe rare opportunities to get one against the team that's really beat up.
Yeah. And it's not just the Cavs once. They still got them twice. They got San Antonio and Cleveland. So they still have to play them a couple of times here. But yeah, you for me, I just want to make sure I see the Spurs that handled the Knicks, because I also seen the Spurs that played against a Dallas team that had just 2 players on the roster. I'm kidding, but you only had 8 guys on the roster. You lose to, at that time, which was practically a G League Charlotte Hornets team in their gym. And then they come to San Antonio and they beat the Spurs. 26 3-pointers made for the Hornets. So this team, man, Vinny, it's just so Jekyll and Hyde, isn't it? Sometimes, we're here confident they're going to win tonight, but if you were to fast forward and tell me in the next couple of hours that, oh, by the way, they lost, I'll be, okay, that's par for the course.
Look, I couldn't agree more. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't beat the Sixers and lose, but I won't be surprised if they run them out of the building. It's just been hard. It's been hard to predict, but why has that been hard to predict? Well, they've been up and down with a rotating roster and obviously losing Wemby and Fox. How can you predict these things? So it's just been impossible to predict. But again, if you're gonna put a check by one that you assume will happen, you would assume that'll happen tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. He is Vinnie Vinzetta with Cans 5 TV. If you need your food reviews, I guess, Vinny, that's what you're doing now for Cans 5 TV. Vinny has you covered. Local eats, all the stuff you can chow down on in San Antonio, and of course, sports. He helps that and everywhere else in between. Vinny, you're a man of the people there, covering people from their stomachs to their sports entertainment. Vinny, how do you do it?
So we just spent some time at a place that you should try. I have it upcoming on a Neighborhood Eats. It's called The Ridge on the Hill, and it's right there at I-35 where you would exit to go to the Frost Bank Center. It's just on the other side of I-35, and they say that they do get Spurs traffic pre-game, post-game, and
nice.
Maybe when there's a concert at Frost Bank or a comedian in town, they'll get a lot of those folks. And their menu is really like, you can get some all-American stuff, say like their hamburger, cheeseburger, fish tacos, but you can also elevate and do like a fine dining experience. Like we tried seared flounder with vegetables, squash, and zucchini. It was amazing. So they got a wide open, wide-ranging menu. So yeah, it's a great place. Not too far again from the Frost Bank Center, right there off of I-35.
Yeah, I mean, Vinny, I mean, it must be such hard work for you, right?
Well, I've got to make sure I get in some cardio and steps every day because I'm eating a little too much these days, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, not go to work and then have to go eat for for a few hours there.
It's a rough life.
It's a rough life. Didn't you also feature? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it like I don't know about this restaurant, but it was a dish named after Robert Horry?
Yeah, that was just last week or 2 weeks ago. Ahua Grill, which is at the corner of Huebner and Vance Jackson. And the owner, Raul Delgado, used to work SAPD, and he worked Spurs games. So he was telling me that Sean and Timmy and Manu and Robert especially would come in Ahua Grill. And Robert, just being the outspoken guy that he is, started making suggestions about the menu. And then suddenly that morphed into Ori creating a big shot. Let's see, there's the big shot burrito, and then Rob's enchiladas were his two creations. And I tried both of them, and they're both really good. So, yeah, Ori put his stamp on the Ahua Grill menu.
you know what? If any restaurant is listening to the Locked On Spurs or watching it on YouTube right now, we need to have a hot dog named after the Vin dog. What do you think about that, Vinny?
I'm on board. I'm on board. Yeah, let's do it.
What would be the Vin dog? What would be the ingredients?
So you're going to have a little sesame seed type bun, right?
Okay.
Like the black sesame seeds. Okay. I may not be calling them the right thing there, but the bun with the black seeds, and then the dog, and then you're going to throw on. This is really pretty standard, but this is kind of the country boy in me. You're going to throw on some mustard. You're going to throw on some chili. You're going to throw on some onions and some cheese, and let's go to work.
Yeah, I like that. Everybody listening up right now at a restaurant or a hot dog stand, you heard the Vin dog. Let's hear you make that right now. Hey, Vinny, before I let you go, to nobody's surprise, right before Fox was out for the season, I caught up with him at a video game event the Spurs put on, and to nobody's shock, he and I just started talking about animation like the whole time. So it's funny though. It was like when I showed up, some of the Spurs staff saw me show up. You know what their first reaction was? This was reaction. Of course he would come to this. Of course he would come and cover a video gaming nerd event.
Which is what I would have said had I seen you there.
Exactly. Yeah, Vinny would have been like, I'm not shocked Jeff's here. Yeah, nobody's. I'm more shocked if he wasn't going to be here. But nevertheless, yeah, he is Vinnie Vinzetta. Make sure to follow him on X at VVinzetta. do that right now. Again, he is with Ken's 5 TV. He's your right now from food, neighborhood eats to sports and everything else in between. Vinny has you covered. So make sure to follow him on X at Vinzetta. As for everybody else, yes, thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Make sure to check out the Locked On Spurs newsletter. It's in the description below on YouTube. It's a link there. It says LO Spurs newsletter. Real easy. Click on that link. Sign up. It's completely free. You want to do that today. So again, we just appreciate y'all taking time out to come here to Locked On Spurs. And we'll be back next week on Monday, talking all things silver and black as the season is winding down. So for the Vin Dog, Vinnie Vinzetta, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.